Greetings, North Central Washington. Welcome to Network TV. On this episode, we will explore the incredible power of social media and the influence it wields in today's digital age. I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, Executive Director of NCW Tech Alliance, and I'll be your guide on this journey today. In a world where connections are made at the click of a button and trends spread like wildfire, one platform has taken center stage with its captivating short-form videos and viral sensations. That's none other than TikTok, the global craze that has revolutionized the way we create, consume, and engage with content. TikTok is a social media platform that allows users to express their creativity through 15 to 60-second videos. It's become a cultural phenomenon, capturing the attention and imagination of millions worldwide. From hilarious lip-syncing challenges to heartwarming dance routines and informative educational content, TikTok has become a powerful expression for entertainment and even social activism. In this episode, we have a very special local guest who's harnessing the power of TikTok and social media to shed light on her family business. Joining us is none other than your favorite Apple girl and ag influencer, the phenomenal Kaitlyn Thornton. She's a senior studying marketing at WSU's Carson College of Business and the winner of NCW Tech Alliance's STEM College Student Innovator of the Year at our annual Innovator Awards. Hailing from our local backyard community, Tenasket, and a fourth-generation orchardist, Kaitlyn leverages her remarkable social media following of over 400,000 people to bring awareness and education about the incredible journey of those mouth-watering apples that you savor every day from your local market. So sit back, stay tuned, and prepare to be inspired as we embark on this captivating conversation with Kaitlyn. Discover her story behind her farming roots and our rise to social media stardom right here on Networked. First, we're going to give you an inside glance with one of her most popular videos on TikTok before we head out to commercial break.
Hi Cougs, I'm Kate Thornton, a junior at WSU Pullman, and some of you might know me as the Apple Girl on TikTok. This is where I educate my followers about fruits and show the behind the scenes of my life as a farmer. So when I'm not studying in Todd Hall as a business marketing major, you can find me traveling all the way back to Tenasket, Washington, back to work in my family's orchards. We are actually a fourth-generation farm growing both apples and pears, including the WSU Cosmic Crisp apples. It is a lot of work to grow and harvest fruit. It takes a lot of people, a lot of coordination, and our harvest lasts from mid-August all the way to November. But oh my goodness, it is so rewarding.
It's so good.
You'll find me doing everything from driving trucks to building roads and hanging out learning as much as I can from my dad. I'm getting my degree in marketing so I can help farmers make more money and also help consumers like yourselves feel better about the produce that you're buying. So thank you for following along and go Cougs!
And welcome back to Network TV. You just got an inside look into our local celebrity here, Kaitlyn Thornton, or Kate. So fun to have you on air. We first got to meet a couple years ago at the Innovator Awards because you were our STEM College Student Innovator for all the work that you're doing to really promote the agriculture industry. Very important to obviously our community and hometowns. But for those who may not have met you before, I'd love to kind of tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, just like I say in a lot of my videos, I'm a fourth-generation apple and pear grower. I'm 20 years old. I'm a senior at Washington State University, so...
Go Cougs!
Go Cougs! Yes! And so I've got a lot of irons in the fire as far as juggling all of that, but more importantly, I guess I am known for my social media presence. So I've amassed about 400,000 followers across TikTok and Instagram, and what I do there, a lot of what I do there is promoting agriculture and educating people in short-form content and keeping it fun, keeping it snappy, but still informing the general consumer.
In education and agriculture, why is it important to get the word out about agriculture? Why has this been important to you?
I mean, it's always been important. Generations, it's always important to connect to that consumer, but it's become more important in the recent years because there is just more of a gap between people who consume food and people who produce food. So there's just a lot of misconceptions out there. I've seen it just my personal interactions with people, but also you see it in headlines, you see it in people's comments on other agriculture-based videos. And so a lot of what I was doing is, or trying to do, is address those and address it in a approachable way.
Yeah, and approachable and fun. Your videos are fun to watch.
Thank you.
It's very entertaining, but educational. I remember I watched maybe even a couple months ago the one about wax, and you were right dispelling like, why does an apple? Why do I pick it up from Safeway and it's got wax on it? Right?
Absolutely. Well, it's just being transparent with the fact that like we do apply a food grade wax to these pieces of fruit, but why do we do it? And going into more in depth as to like, we're not trying to poison people, we're just doing this because it helps minimize food waste, and we're replacing a natural wax that apple already produces. And there's just like various topics that are very similar to that, and people are like, that makes sense, you're not trying to kill us. Because it's really sad to see like a farmer going from this hero in years past to almost we're looked at in a pretty negative light anymore.
Which is heartbreaking, first of all, because if we don't have our farmers, we can't feed our families, right? I can't think of anything more critical than our natural food supply and how that continues to grow. So kudos to you for kind of reframing the conversation and bringing the joy and education back in.
Thank you.
Tell me what it was like to grow up, being the fourth generation.
I mean, I'm fourth generation, but my parents started out with about 23 acres, just rebuilding back that family land. And so all growing up, it was a lot of my parents making some pretty risky moves, acquiring more land, and growing up as business owners. And so I saw that through the lens of a 5 through 15-year-old. And then I would help in where I could. As I got older, I got more responsibility, but just even helping out in the little family garden, always around a lot of activity. It's a very labor-intensive industry, so we've got a huge team, a crew, go through, pick all the fruit, but we also have tractor drivers, and so it's a lot of energy.
Yeah. And how big is a farm now, or orchard, and what do you grow?
So we've got about 440 operational acres of both apples and pears. I'm known as the apple girl, but we actually have more pears than we do apples. I just have more interest in the apples, but we're moving into more pears.
Pears, okay. Driving awareness around both.
Exactly, exactly.
When you're out working on the orchard, what's your favorite thing to do?
I love it when I can put all of my focus into one thing, because most of my life is multitasking and stuff, but if I have something that makes me put all of my brain power into it, I love doing stuff like that. And that a lot of times is driving big pieces of equipment. So whether it's a front end loader, or we've got a Kenworth dump truck I run oftentimes, or I'm hauling fruit, or other times when I need a break from all the stress of college and all the other stuff I do, I love being out on a four-wheeler, changing water, being with my dogs, stuff like that.
Well, and I can imagine there's a lot of peace that comes with having to just slowly be in the presence. Obviously, you can't be simultaneously in your computer and your cell phone when you're driving heavy machinery.
No.
Right? You're just in with nature.
I know. Yeah. That's actually, a lot of times I get people that are always asking me, can you do a shifting video or whatever? I'm like, I don't think that's the best example to
Right, yeah. No texting and driving.
Yeah.
Yes. How has your upbringing, influenced your career aspirations? What's after WCO?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. I still got 6 months, so
okay, you have time.
Figure it out.
You still have a lifetime to redefine that too.
Exactly, yeah. But I always tell people it's a blessing that I was born into my passion. So it's been clear since about 15, 16 that I want to stay in the fruit industry. But it started out as, I want to go into the sales and marketing side. But as my social media presence grows and my understanding of the industry grows, I keep taking opportunities that is rounding out my knowledge of the industry. And I want to see, wherever I land, I just want to make the biggest impact. And that is making people feel better about the dollar that they're spending towards agriculture and towards farmers, and helping them understand where their food comes from. but also making more money for the farmers, because I grew up seeing the heartache that is farming and the struggles, and I was put through that. But there's also a lot of amazing things about farming, and that's why we want to keep doing it.
And family farms, from a very limited understanding across the U.S., that's like continued to decline because it's such a hard industry to be a part of.
Yeah,
absolutely. Maintaining that. I want to touch back on WSU. We had the opportunity to honor you as STEM College Student Innovator of the Year. You know, tell me about the evolution the last couple of years through WSU and college. You know, how has that impacted, you know, the experience you've already had now in the farming business in the future ahead?
Well, college, especially coming from a town that doesn't even have a stoplight, right? You're exposed to a lot more things. I mean, it's a Pac-12 university. I've met several people that are like, oh, there's nothing to do here. But I'm like, you guys have 2 McDonald's, okay? That is a big deal compared to what I'm used to. Yeah. But I'm also meeting all these people from all over the country and some people from all over the world. And I love immersing myself in those situations because I learn different people's perspectives. And that I take that with me back to agriculture and having an overall outlook of what the world is like, what the domestic market is like, because we are famous for sometimes just marketing to ourselves. And we need to be conscious of the consumer that we are producing this fruit for. And in doing that, and doing social media, I've also realized that like everyone eats apples, right? It's not just like one demographic, like everyone eats fruit. And so appealing to that wider audience has definitely come through my interactions at WSU. And then of course, getting that award, actually, it really meant a lot to me. And I had some special people in my life come to that award banquet. And so that meant a lot. And then it's also opened up doors. I've got to go to some of the events and the community that you guys have. The connections I've made have been unbelievable, and people are super supportive of what I'm doing. I go to these events, and sometimes I'm the youngest person there, which is a little intimidating, but I'm welcomed with open arms, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're so excited to celebrate you, and I think that's so important for those who are watching in today. You got to support and, you know, arms around our young people and bring them into the circles where they might be the youngest person in the room and give them opportunities and exposure. And of course, support STEM education. So important. We have to head out to a commercial break, but do not go too far because we're going to be back on air with part 2. And welcome back to part 2 of Network TV. Today I've been on air talking with Kat Thornton. I want to say Kate. It's okay. I messed it up because Kaitlyn, that's how I know you, and then when it's abbreviated, I mess it up. See, I mess up on live TV, okay? Apologize. Okay.
You're forgiven. You're in the ballpark.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, well, let's go back into more about social media. When you first started posting on social media, could you imagine back then that you would have over 400,000 people following your content?
No. Yes. No, I mean, like, I couldn't even comprehend that number at that point. But I was just kind of doing it because I loved it, right? I was just like, I'm just going to put myself out there. But starting out, it was a little intimidating because, again, small town. Yeah. There's not much to talk about. So if someone does something out of the norm, people are going to talk about it. And so as a high schooler, especially as like a high school student, you kind of just want to like fly under the radar and you just want to be normal. Right. And then doing something that's a little out of the norm, you get a little pushback from it.
Yeah. Draws in maybe attention or a lot of feedback, I'm sure too. Everyone has an opinion on social media.
Or people being like, who does she think she is? Yeah. Because I was posting kind of like an influencer when I really wasn't an influencer yet.
But that built a style that has now led to being that success you're having.
It was more of an approach of like inclusion. So I just style my videos like I'm not just talking to a couple hundred people, but it could reach millions or whatever. Just kind of having that mentality going into these topics and making it applicable for everyone.
That's we didn't have strategy on those notes, but that's probably a great strategy for people to think about when they frame things that even if they're not planning to become an influencer or wanting to go, like, how would you feel if 1 million people saw this video, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay. You got to have that like background before
Yeah.
you're projecting that online.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for many things in life too, though. Just like conduct yourself as if you would be up on a platform and everyone's watching you.
But TikTok is quite the stage to be on.
Yeah.
And has there been a difference in, you know, you're also on Instagram and all socials, right? Is there something in particular though about TikTok that's like a wider awareness or goes faster that you found?
It gets you out of your what you would call your niche. Like sometimes your videos will hit a totally different audience than what you're used to your videos hitting. But I love that because that's what allows you to grow so much on TikTok, and I think that's ideal for even the produce industry because again, you want to appeal to that wider demographic, and that's how TikTok. I mean, I use trends, and then I use just my own approach to educational videos, and it's kind of playing off of both of those, and so utilizing trends, and it's got an incredible algorithm that while it's going to be taking that content and putting it in front of different people each time, it's usually people who will enjoy or engage with that content.
And I wouldn't pretend to even understand the algorithm behind TikTok because that could be a whole nother episode here. But I want to touch on that global piece because you mentioned that in the first segment here, talking about WSU too, and it's the way we interact with the world. And apples and pears is a global, worldwide industry. So much of what's produced in Washington State goes outside of the U.S. and outside of these walls. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know what? Actually, the last couple of years, our export market is down a lot. So we're not hitting that huge worldwide market that we have in years past. So it's more important than ever to reach our domestic consumers and making sure that people feel good about American agriculture and that they want to support American agriculture. And I always tell people, with the export market being down, an apple a day is going to have to go to 2 apples a day. If we're going to keep pumping out fruit, we got to have people to eat it, right?
Yeah. And it's something that we can't take advantage of, right? Because if we don't consume the produce, we'll start losing orchards, right?
Oh, well,
it's not something that can sit on the shelf or it's going to stay on forever. If there's not the demand, it has lasting legacy impacts.
I know several farms that have gone belly up just in the last couple of years. We had a close call ourselves, thankful to be pulled out of that. But seeing pear and apple orchards being ripped out in the last couple of years it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Heartbreaking for those families and for our region and the beauty of where we live.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's talk a little bit, I might kind of switch here a bit, about being a woman in the ag business, which I know wasn't on our notes, so not to put you on spots, but it's been an industry maybe in popular culture where we saw movies growing up of the farmer, more the man, right? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about women in ag and also kind of bringing that in through social media?
I think one of the biggest things to hit is being in agriculture does not mean just sitting on a tractor. There's so much behind moving that fruit, moving that produce, and a lot of women have come into that space and really just made it so much more dynamic. And I think what's cool about our industry is that we're learning to play to, sometimes women have more strengths than men have in certain areas, and playing to those strengths because together we make a really good team. Mm-hmm. So leaning into that more, and I love all the women that I've met in this space, like some of the most strong women I've ever met, because they push me to be better, I push them to be better, but we're also congratulating and applauding each other every step of the way, which is really cool to see.
And really important to have camaraderie and celebrate success and build community in agriculture. Because as you mentioned, it's a hard industry to be in.
Absolutely.
Right? Not for the faint of heart.
No.
You need some grit, some tenacity, and
you gotta have stamina. That's the thing. I mean, there's something going on every part of the year. I mean, every week of the year, there's something new going on.
Yeah. It's not a part-time job.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Tell us a little bit about, so on that same thread, are you seeing more women on social media and ag as well?
Yes.
Is that growing?
Yes, because I think on social media, you have to present some sort of like creative instinct.
Yeah.
And I think women are really good at that. I mean, I don't mean to like be sexist in the sense that like women are just way more creative than men. But usually we just have a knack for that and seeing certain things that, that might be interesting to people, or let's highlight that. And I think that's a really dynamic way women can come into agriculture that's really helpful.
And help grow.
Absolutely.
You said, you know, a little bit in your interview, I'm not going to go to the Chronicle of Higher Education, that you want to learn more about multiple streams of revenue and strong cash flow. How do you envision, you know, the future of orchards, not just for your family, but for others? What are you hoping for, and what do you think others should look to?
Oh, man.
I know, big question.
I mean, I can't say for other operations so much because there's such a wide range of like acreage and how much vertical integration each operation has, and even what their succession plan is. We are fortunate that I am pretty much the succession plan for our operation. And Dad and I have discussed it. He's still going to be working for quite a while. He's like, go make some real money before you come back to actual farming. So, but eventually I want to lean into the community aspect, because I want to get communities back even more than before supporting their farmers. And I mean, small town, again. I want there to be something to do, so I want to lean into more of those direct sales, more of like a roadside fruit stand, but a place where people can come get a coffee, but also highlighting our family's history. Fourth generation farm comes with a lot of history. So we've got a lot of cool pictures. I'd love to educate people on where we come from, and even shooting into more like having a private label cider, things like that. And then also leaning into ag tourism, showing people, giving people the opportunity to come out to the farm. They can get a tour, they can do some U-pick, and connecting people back to the dirt, back to where their food comes from.
Tying in that personal connection, I think is so important for any industry, right? People want to support the businesses that they know personally or they care about or have an investment in. And so often we can't go to all the sources where our food is coming from. So I think that's really exciting that you're going to try to bridge that in the years to come, to connect people directly with the earth and where that's being sourced and how it's being produced.
Exactly. So I'm starting early enough. Hopefully I can get there, right?
Well, you have an incredible future ahead, Kaitlyn. It's been so exciting to watch your journey over the last couple of years. If people are following along today, where can they find you online? What's your handle?
You can find me on Instagram. That's Kaitlyn Jill Thornton. And then on TikTok, I'm just Apple Girl Kate. And you can find a lot of my educational stuff on there. But more importantly, I want people to remember that if they like my stuff, you got a bunch of family farms just like mine behind me. I'm a face for a wide community of growers and just agriculture in general. So keeping that in mind, it's not just the Kate show. It's more about apples. It's more about agriculture.
So follow all of the local family farms, whether you're in Washington or watching abroad.
Yep,
yes,
absolutely.
Amazing. Well, after graduation, you'll have to come back and update us on what's going on. It's been so fun to have you on air. We're wrapping up for today, but we'll be back on air on the NCW Life channel next week. Thanks for joining us.